Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. So a little while ago I did a video on 10 fragrances that I think are a bit underrated based off of where they're generally thought of in the popular lineup of men's fragrances. Today we're doing the opposite. I'm talking to you about fragrances that I think are a little bit overrated. Yeah, things get dicey when you're talking overrated. When you're talking underrated, people will be like, yeah, I do like that fragrance, man, you're right. It does deserve more respect. When you're talking overrated and you say, hey, I think this fragrance is not quite as good as some people make it out to be. You might as well walked up to that person, assuming it's a fragrance they really like, slapped them in the face, stolen their wallet, kicked a dent in their car door, set their house on fire, probably pushed their mom in a wheelchair over a bridge, and just in general done nasty things. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Let's jump into it. These fragrances will be linked in the description in case you want to check them out. And of course, if you ever shop at twistedlily.com or maxaroma.com, use the code GENTS10 for 10% off your order. Or if you shop at luckyscent.com, use the code GENTS2022 for 10% off your order until they decide to change it out from underneath us. Nice. And how I determined popularity for this list is I went to fragrantica.com, sorted by most popular men's fragrances, kind of looked down through there, and then the ones that jumped out at me as being too high on that list, those are some of the ones I'm going to be highlighting. First one, okay, let's get this out of the way. Nautica Voyage. Now I know what you're saying. Nautica Voyage? Dude, come on, dude. That's one of the go-to cheapy fragrances. That's like one of the best scents to get started with on the cheap, and you yourself have said that. And you're right, I have. Especially back in the day when you could get the nice little metal cap bottles that were ever so slightly nicer than the current ones with the plastic cap. Picking up Nautica Voyage for under $20 was a no-brainer. The perfumer behind it is fantastic. It's got great versatility. People like the way it smells. It's a potential compliment puller. And like I said, for under 20 bucks, no-brainer. And I still think that holds true. Nautica Voyage is solid. So why in this list? Mainly just because, and this was maybe a little bit before, but it still carries on to today, Nautica Voyage ends up being held up as like this bastion of cheapy greatness. Like you're not allowed to ever say anything bad about it. It's just like, oh, Nautica Voyage, oh, wow. But it still smells like a Nautica. So while I do like it quite a lot, especially for the price point. Realistically, like how many fragrances out there are better than it? Next up, Toy Boy from Moschino. Now this guy got so much hype when it came out that it still is ranked as one of the most popular men's fragrances ever when you go on to Fragrantica. And again, I like Moschino Toy Boy, and I talked about how much I liked this when it came out because it was so different. It definitely, as far as men's designer releases goes, does something different. Very floral forward to the point that it smells unisex to most people, and actually ladies can pull this off just as easily as men can. I think the issue with Toy Boy is that because it came out and it was so different, the hype was just like to the moon. And then when that died down, everybody was like, I don't know if I really want to wear this very much. And of course, there are a lot of people out there that do. And if you do, man, more power to you. But it's just one of those fragrances that was like, and so to me, the amount of hype that came out with this originally just has not carried on, you know. After that, Stronger With You Intensely. Don't hate this fragrance. It's just, this one is up there as basically the most popular at this point of the Stronger With You line. Again, using the rankings that we're using for this video. And I just don't think it is the best in the line. I think Stronger With You absolutely is better. I think both the oud and leather editions of Stronger With You are better. I'm actually more intrigued by Stronger With You Freeze than this one. Obviously not a bad scent, fantastic performance. It is a big compliment puller. It's sweet, it's warm, it smells similar to a number of other fragrances out there because this style of fragrance is very popular right now. It's just that within its own line, I think it falls down a bit underneath these other releases. And so for me, for it to be ranked as the most popular, but then to be worse than all these other ones in the line, you know, makes it a little overrated. Let's follow that one up with Pegasus from Parfums de Marly. Now, this is one where I think it's just, frankly, one of the weaker releases in the entire Parfums de Marly lineup for men. Pegasus is a fragrance that never really did it for me in a big way. It smells similar to Dior's Hypnotic Poison, which is a fragrance for the ladies with a bit of a masculine twist. So it's like Dior Hypnotic Poison reimagined for men. It's got an almond note in here that's a little bit metallic, and as I said, just doesn't hold up against all the other big hitters in the Parfums de Marly lineup. So for me, it's not really unique, and it's also not all that pleasant to smell. So unfortunately, Pegasus, I feel like most overrated in the Parfums de Marly lineup. It's not my least favorite Parfums de Marly for men. That would be Cologne, but yeah, still not great. Let's keep it moving with another cheapie that, you know, it's just heralded and held up to such a high standard that I don't know if it reaches that standard or not. Again, this is another one though that I personally like a lot, and I think for the price point, it is a steal. But I'm going to talk about the problems with the fragrance in 1 second. It is Bentley for Men Intense. So Bentley for Men Intense, this does have what some people would call niche quality for a cheap budget price point. It smells similar to Idole de Luban, the eau de parfum, and also Chambre Noir from Olfactive Studio. So this smells similar to those at a much lower price point. You might look at it just as that and say, man, well, that's a great deal. Is the quality of the fragrance just so much worse than those that it makes it overrated? And I would say, no, actually, the quality here is great. So what's the issue? The issue is that somewhat like Encre Noir, which I did not put in this list, but somewhat like Encre Noir from Lalique, this has been hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped for so long. And I'm not saying that I haven't done that. I've talked about this fragrance as being an amazing cheapie buy, and I think it is. But it has been hyped for so long that you get a lot of new people coming into the fragrance world, and they don't want to spend too much money, so they look up those lists. What is the 10 best cheap fragrances, 15 best cheap fragrances, right? And this is on there. You know, they see it repeated over and over and over. It's so good, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good that they buy it, they spray it on, and then they go, holy crap, I hate it. I think Encre Noir and Bentley for Men Intense are the two fragrances that I have most often seen people complain about, that they saw them being hyped online, they bought them, and then it didn't work for them, that they just hate it. For some people, it's gonna be awesome, absolutely. For a lot of other people, it's gonna be unwearable. I'm on team awesome though, I think it's great. Okay, this next one I don't like as much. It's F Black by Ferragamo, Salvatore Ferragamo. This is one of those fragrances that caught huge amounts of hype. Everybody was scooping this stuff up. It was for sale just about everywhere on the cheap. You could find it at TJ Maxx, Ross's, Marshalls, Fragrance Net, Fragrance Buy, Fragrance Everything. Some people compared it to La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent, saying it was an amazing date night fragrance. But for me, it just never did work all that well. Peppery, not as warm, sexy, sweet, spicy as La Nuit de l'Homme is. It is inexpensive though, so that takes the edge off a little bit. Even if you don't like it, you're not out that much money. And I could see for a lot of people that it would be usable, versatile, you know, easy to pull off in fall and winter time. But for me, I think it's just not quite there. Like the quality isn't there to warrant how much it was talked about and how much it was hyped. All right, this next one is a doozy, so buckle your pants. That's right, steel yourself, don't fall over. Club de Nuit Intense, Armaf. Now, this is the original Club de Nuit Intense. This is not the Pure Parfum. This is not the limited edition or any of those. This is just the good old original CDNIM as it was originally presented to us. So why overrated? Well, first off, I do want to say Club de Nuit Intense, massive fragrance. Just the amount of popularity it's carried for how long it's been out is friggin' wild. So Armaf crushed it. Like there's no denying that, and I'm sure that they're happy with it. They're just rolling in money. They're Scrooge McDuck diving into, you know, a vault of golden coins. It's a little overrated. Now, why would I say that? Mainly because at this point, where I'm sitting here today, obviously I have the benefit of hindsight, but there are unbelievable amounts of Creed Aventus type fragrances out there. Niche, indie, clones, designers, everything. And truth be told, there are probably dozens of them out there that smell better than that. And yet the popularity of that is that of like a top 3 fragrance of all time if you go on to Fragrantica. The popularity of it is so high on that website that it's above Aventus. It's above the fragrance it's cloning. Like, what? And another reason that I put it into this list is because at this point, there are versions of Club de Nuit Intense Man that are better than that one. If you want to get the best CD and IM, get the limited edition or get the Pure Parfum. That's also better than this one. Then we got Kenzo Homme Eau de Toilette Intense. Now, this bottle I love. This bottle is freaking awesome. This like sliced bamboo look, that is slick. But the fragrance itself just... I really don't dig. It does not work well for me. Don't think it smells all that pleasant. My wife really hates the stuff. Yeah, it's a little weird. Now, it doesn't come across this way to everybody, so your mileage may vary, but especially with my wife, it came across smelling like something pickly, like pickles. So this is one of those ones that is more so just, I don't really like the stuff. It doesn't work well for me. I don't get good reactions from it. And I was frankly surprised to see it as high as it was. So yeah, Versace Man Eau Fraiche. Now Versace Man Eau Fraiche, I like this a lot. At one point in time, my most worn Versace fragrance, I was wearing this stuff out. I've actually got a 200 ml bottle of this stuff back here. And then this one, a little bit like Dolce & Gabbana's light blue for women. So in that style, more masculine touch to it, has a star fruit note, kind of a tropical, fresh sweetness. I think it smells really good, actually. This one is completely just the ranking, just how high it is. There are so many fragrances below it that I think annihilate Versace Man Eau Fraiche. And I mean, Versace has basically abandoned that line anyway. They did Versace Man in a purple bottle, same design, discontinued that. And then we have Versace Man Eau Fraiche, the only one in this bottle, and Versace has done nothing else with it. Hopefully they come out with some more stuff, but for now, this is all we got. I think it's great for summertime. It's very pleasing. It's just a little bit over where I think it should be. Last one, Individuel, Mont Blanc. Never really loved this stuff. At one point in time, I tried to convince myself that I'd come around to it and wore it more. And, you know, I started to almost tolerate it and then I just gave up. I was like, man, why am I trying to make myself wear this stuff? I don't even like it. It's similar to Yop Homme. It's got that sweetness, kind of cough syrupy sweetness, but not as bad as Yop. It is fresh. I mean, as long as you don't mind the way the sweetness comes across, perfectly wearable, not too expensive from discounters. But I think just the level that hit at one point in time was everywhere. It's just not that good, you know? So that's the last one in this list of overrated fragrances. As I said, some of you, I'm sure, I held one of these up and you were like, no, that's not overrated. I get you. I mean, I've seen people say like Bleecker Street is complete trash and overrated. And I'm like, what? That's ridiculous. You know, if that's how you feel, I get where you're coming from. But to reiterate, I actually like a whole lot of these. It is just solely based on how high they were and whether or not I thought that they deserved to be there versus what the fragrances below them were like. So again, for example, Club de Nuit Intense Man being second on there. Do I think that Club de Nuit Intense Man is the second best fragrance for men that has ever existed, that it should be that high in the popularity rankings? No. And that's why it's here. All right, friends, I'm out of here. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.